Welcome to another Quebec and New England Railroad layout operating video. As mentioned in the last video, this is a three-part series. This video is part 3, focusing on the arrival of the northbound Quebec and New England train in the lower yard, making its pickup or having its pickup added to its train, and then leaving the lower yard into staging. At the same time, we'll see the southbound Q&NE train leaving staging and entering the lower yard. And here's the breakdown of activities for this third video. In our last video, we watched as our local switcher pulled the lift for the Quebec and New England northbound train down to the yard office where it would wait until the arrival of the train so it could tack it on the rear end. Once the train has yarded and cleared the ladder, our switch engine will come out and take the caboose from the train and use it to grab the lift that is going to be added to the train. Yeah, I have no idea what happened here. There's a ghost in the machine. As soon as our switch crew uncouples from the caboose here, unties the hoses, the head end will perform a quick number 2 brake test and will get on its way. Once again, my uncoupling magnets have been giving me headaches. You'll see at the far right side of the screen here a BCOL boxcar. That was supposed to be the first car up on the lift. That was added to this train, but when I pulled the cut back, I didn't notice that the couplers were sitting right on top of the hidden magnet, and so that car was left behind. So once again, the magical 050 switcher came to the rescue, backed up our train, spliced in this car where it's supposed to be, and headed back towards staging. Here's a behind the scenes look at our northbound Q&E train just as it's entering the next room before it passes over the switch to the paper mill yard. From our train departures consist sheet, we can see that our northbound train has been assigned staging track N4. To maximize the use and efficiency of my 4 new staging tracks, I have to clear the train that's sitting on that track first before the northbound can enter into it. So here you see me throwing the tortoise switch machines at both ends of track N4, as well as setting the polarity in the staging yard for outbound train movements. Here's a behind the scenes look standing inside the helix, and we can see the track 4, which is the innermost staging track in the helix, our southbound Quebec and New England train that we're going to slowly move out of the way onto the staging track lead, which will free up track N4 for the northbound Q&E train to move into it right behind. All Q&E trains are generally long enough to loop over themselves, even though this is a minimum 30-inch radius helix. Here you see the southbound Q&E train looping its way around the return loop, while the northbound train sits patiently above. Once all the locomotives pass the gap in the rails you see there on the far left, it's white. Once they pass that point, they're effectively outside of the turning loop staging area and no longer controlled by the on-off-on switch that I showed you earlier that set the polarity for the return loop and staging yard. At this point, you can see the caboose tail end of our train clearing the staging tracks in the helix. And so if I had another operator on hand, that other person could have set the Q&E northbound in motion. You see it in the top right-hand corner of the frame. At some point, though, this southbound train will have to pause to allow the northbound train to make its way around the main line and down into staging before it can take ownership of the main line back to the lower industrial yard. So we're going to pause the train here and head back to the Q&E northbound and watch how it makes its way through the new layout extension, main line, and down into staging. before our northbound Q&E train enters the staging yard, we have to remember to set the polarity for inbound trains to staging. Here's a still shot, again standing inside the helix, where we can see both the inbound northbound train, led by number 74, and the outbound southbound train. It's a little fuzzy, it's out of focus in the distance, number 79, waiting patiently for the northbound train to clear the ladder before he can make his way onto the main line. As mentioned before, track N4 is the innermost track of the 5-track helix. It's set at 30-inch radius, and all of the inbound moves are downhill, so there's no trouble with the grades. And the only outbound track is the exterior loop track, which is set at 39-inch radius. So again, it's got the least difficult grade heading out of staging. Before we get moving, we're going to realign the turnouts to track N4, or normal them to the straight movement, and set the staging polarity to off or neutral. And one more behind the scenes look. Here we see our Quebec and New England southbound train making its way through the helix staging yard ladder tracks along the middle level of the hidden area here towards the portal that will take it onto the visible part of the main line in the new layout extension. I have to say I'm really liking the way this portal worked out. I think it's effectively camouflaged through the backdrop by the power plant, piping system, and buildings on either side. This is the first official Q&NE southbound train to arrive onto the layout from the new staging yard. No need anymore to use trackage rights on Conrail. We have our own main line. The crew will ease the train to a stop just outside the yard office, where we can check our orders and see what kind of work we have to do at the yard today. I suspect it'll mostly be set-offs and no pickups. Our train today is long enough to extend beyond the yard ladder, through the wall, and back towards the new extension. You can see the caboose there is even foul of the lead to the paper mill. Here's a peek at the inbound switch list or train arrival consist, which we will use to set some cars off. The yellow and orange cars are for the lower yard industrial customers, and the orange is for the mill switcher to pick up on its way back. But that switching exercise will be the subject of another video. In a real operating session, we'd have multiple crew members doing things simultaneously. So while this switching is going on, another crew is looking after the Conrail trains arriving from the east and west, handling their interchange at the interchange yard. That will be the subject of our next video. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoy layout improvement videos, here are a few others that you may find interesting. If you're not already a subscriber, you can click on the logo on the top right-hand corner of your screen.